Hello, you're listening to a We Will Fix It podcast short with Colin Thomas and myself, James Pikeway.
Let's jump into a really interesting story because you're duct cleaning. So first of all, getting ducts, and I don't mean ducks as a quack quack. I mean
with a T, ducts.
Duct. Yes. Cleaning ducts is super important wherever you are in the world. You know, back in North America, you might have forced air heating and cooling. And I mean, I can remember when we lived in our place in Ajax. I don't think we ever cleaned those things. And you'd open them up and there'd be dog hair and dust bunnies and old Hot Wheel cars. The stuff that was down there.
Yeah, it's quite something. And also, if you imagine in Northern America, those units are a lot older than we've got here.
Yeah.
And therefore, and because they're often through the floor as well, they've literally just been created as channels rather than actually any ductwork being there at all. So we're a huge step forward here in the Middle East. Where it gets a little bit more dicey is on the older properties. Some of them, for some unknown reason, insulated with fiberglass on the inside.
Oh.
At that point, you're in disaster zone and you need to be very careful about how they're duct cleaned.
Why would you put the fiberglass insulation on the inside? Is these some North Americans who designed these things or what? That's weird.
I don't know, but they obviously had their own issues. Yeah. But the logic behind it is, if you imagine when you turn off your AC, the ducts are then very cold. Yeah. So what they're trying to do is avoid condensation. Yeah, I understand that logic, but they didn't think about longevity.
No.
In terms of the process of people cleaning it over time, which it needs to be done, and the damage that would cause to the insulation that's there. So not a genius idea, never done these days. Let's put it that way.
Thank goodness.
So, from our perspective, the big job that we're actually in the middle of quoting. We're at the quoting stage.
Oh.
And it is a new school in Dubai that was actually built in 2019, or the initial construction was done. They're now at the stage where they are finally bringing it online next September. And they're doing the fit out of the school itself, so not bare walls anymore, but trying to put floors in and various other bits and bobs. And all of the exposed ducts need an initial clean before a final clean, because the buildings haven't even been closed. So I mean, all the gymnasiums, for instance, have these enormous duct lines, and there is bird droppings all the way across the top of these units.
No.
Yeah. Okay, but then the scale that we're talking about is, so I've got 3 gymnasiums. Each one probably has about 250, 260 meters of ducting that we have to clean both internally and externally.
Wow.
And another 370 units of ducts. So
370
units.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, not all of those. I think is 270 is the number that we've been asked to quote for, plus the gymnasiums. But it's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed actually getting back into doing kind of really hardcore commercial quotations and the process, and taking the team through that, because a lot of the guys haven't done it before. So you have to simplify this, and very, very quickly. Is the real key. So we had all the plans, we got them all printed out in A3 on our conference table, and it filled the entire conference table. And then I color code them. So therefore we have the 3 colors for short length duct, medium length duct, long length duct, and then another one which is outside of the ordinary that we can classify. So therefore we need to look at each of these separately. Which are those gymnasiums? The rest of them pretty much filled into the classification. Then as well as that, we've got various fan shafts that need cleaning and various other bits and bobs like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we then got the purchasing team involved to then look at, outside of our standard domestic brushes, what can I get that will work with our machines, because our machines are extremely capable to work on commercial units as well. And it turns out we can get 30-inch brushes to go on there, which is perfect for what we need. So it's a really, really clever idea. Then on top of that, very few companies have as many of these duct machines as we have. We currently have 6 that are fully operational. And if you imagine that each of these machines could do around 10 to 12 units a day, it actually means that when it sounds like an enormous number, we can actually bring it down and probably get the whole school done in 2 to 3 weeks.
That's pretty good.
It is. And there's not many outfits out there that actually are able to do that. Most companies would have 1, maybe 2 of these machines. We've got 6 because of the size that we are. So then it's about health and safety, and then looking at, okay, so you know these ducts that are in the gymnasium, these ducts are 10.1 meters above the ground.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Serious scaffolding.
Yeah, it is. But luckily, we've got that.
We've got the scaffolding.
Yeah.
That's good.
But then more importantly than that for me is, okay, our guys all need to be able to operate this safely.
Yeah.
So they all have certificates to be able to work for us. We train them in working at height, and they are certified for working at height. For the scaffold, we have a certain select group that are warranted for that. But now anybody that is working on those gymnasiums, if for any reason they are not certified, will be certified beforehand. We will then have a manager who is certified, IOSH certified, which is the main training body in the UK, for managing safely.
Okay, here's my question. Pause for a second.
Okay.
You're doing the quote. You've got this team together. Do the people you're quoting to care?
Well, this is the question. We don't know.
Okay.
So there are 2 schools. There is the school of, I want the lowest price no matter what. Okay. Now, to hit that lowest price, it's going to be really, really long. They'll literally go in with 1 duct machine and 2, 3 people. Secondly, it's going to be really dangerous. They won't use the scaffolding grade that we do to be able to get up there.
No, they're going to use one big... Another story. Remind me, I've got another story for you after to do with heights.
Okay.
So they'll use some ladder or something.
Yes, they will. They just use a straight ladder and literally they'll lean it up against the ducts, which is dangerous as hell.
Because they'll do that.
Yeah, well, they do it domestically.
Right.
You know the story about the 3 guys holding on to a vertical ladder so that guys can climb up 8 meters to change a light bulb.
Well, that's the story that I've got for you. Is I actually was watching. We were driving by. The wife and I were driving by some giant-sized palm tree, and there's some guy up in it cutting off branches and things, and the ladder is roped around. I think it was roped. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how he would have climbed up it because I didn't see where the ladder was affixed, but it was vertical, and we didn't go back because we thought we were both gasped and went, "How did he get up there?"
Well, this is interesting. I know how they got up there because we had palm trees in the old garden, and the gentleman who came to be able to cut off those branches didn't need a ladder.
Okay, he used the belt.
The belt.
But this guy had a ladder.
No, but they sometimes what they'll do is they'll lean a ladder up initially so they don't have to belt from the bottom. They'll then set up the belt at the top of the ladder and then go up higher from there.
Gotcha.
That's the normal way that they would work. But that's very different to maintenance of a light bulb, unfortunately, where they literally put 3 guys holding onto a ladder that goes totally vertically and the lightest one climbs up.
No.
That was done by a very, very well-known maintenance company, large maintenance company here in Dubai.
Wow.
And that is how little they think of their staff. Well, you know what? If I have to miss out on a contract because to be able to hit a price point, I need to use that little equipment and have that disregard for my staff, I don't want to.
Yeah. So that's
Simple
good. So you'll be able to provide all these certifications.
Oh, we've got it. We're absolutely ready to go. But to work through the methodology on something like this, which is a really unusual job, is fascinating. I've really, really enjoyed it. And, we came in at a really good price. If we don't get it, we don't get it.
Yeah.
And it won't materially make much difference to us. It would be nice to have, especially as it's getting cool. And that's the reason we went for it.
Yeah.
But, we'll have to wait and see whether or not they value. I don't think many people can do it the way we could do it. And for me, that's the magic of scale.
When will you know?
I'm guessing 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So we'll wait and see. Yeah. We think we call these our 20%ers. If we do 5 of them, we'll eventually get one. But for a 20%er, and there's a process to take the staff through, it's worth its weight in gold, whether we get it or not.
Huge educational value.
Yeah, massively. Massively. And trying to get them to think outside of our traditional box of domestic.
Yeah.
And you do need to think very differently commercially about how to cost this kind of thing So it's not just about the length of the units, it's about the flow between the units. It's about ease of access. The fact that the ceilings are not in means that we can actually get in and do the work a lot more simply than we would be otherwise. So it's been fascinating. I've really enjoyed it.